And 10 minutes late. My bad. Sorry, everyone. How are you, DC?
Oh, it's been terrible, terrible, terrible. The last week was probably the worst week of the year. First 3 days was the 4 year anniversary of what happened to me in 2019, which automatically was tough. Then Thursday, some guy was touching my neck, and he's one of those really, really creepy guys who likes me and is obsessed with me a lot. Yeah, and keep in mind, yeah, I had people touch me before. Very weird and creepy. Yeah. And Saturday, I had an encounter with a dog, which made me lose one of my AirPods, his buds. Yeah, and apparently yesterday, an online friend of mine passed away.
Oh my, I'm sorry to hear that, man. My
Yeah.
condolences. How close were you from that friend?
Oh, we were really, really close. Just as much as I was like with you two, and also Flare Sputter, but yeah, we were close. Um, he had suicide thoughts a few months ago, which I'm not sure if he was something related to that, but was having some issues with some people, and yeah,
It's sad, man. It's always rough. I had like really rough teenager year as well. And I also had that kind of thought when I was like 13 and 12. That's always really hard. But if you can get through that as an adult, try your best like to improve other people's life. I think this is more like a reason to be better, and to help out other people getting
yeah,
better. But sadly, not everyone get the chance to go through and beating that kind of dark era.
yeah.
Um, what about you, Cole? How are you?
Pretty awful week. Yeah, I couldn't really think straight. So, yeah, like nothing popped up, just depression. So, yeah, uh, watched pretty much everything, but yeah, it was a little bit tough because of that. And yeah, now this fucking MSK wants me to do something soon after this. I guess in like 3 or so hours. So yeah, I guess for me at least, I guess I'm not gonna probably say too much today, but yeah.
Okay. So this officially the start of season three with this podcast here. This week we start season three. We got a lot going on. As we talked behind the scene, during the week of June 25th, we will try having a Joker Corner. I will keep the both of you updated. Right now, he hasn't replied to me yet, but I know he's pretty occupied, so I'm not really worried about that. That's also why I gave like 2 week ish, because when we like really get things set up, I want to know what's the plan. I like to plan in advance. When it's just us three, it's not that complicated because it's just us three. But then if we add guests and stuff, I like to know in advance, and that's just the way it is. Um, so yeah, um, we talked a bit behind the scene. So this week, DC only had time to watch half of Batwoman second season, so we will get his takes on Batwoman second season so far. We will also talk about Flash season 8. You had time to watch it, right, Cole? Flash
Yeah,
season 8.
I had time to
Yep.
watch it.
So we will have a in-depth discussion about Flash season 8, a bit Batwoman season 2 and 3 as well, but we won't spoil anything for DC because I think DC still enjoys the show.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that, and then we'll keep like the show's discussion like Gotham Knights, Superman and Lois, and the movies. We will get them after DC because I don't think you have seen any. Am
No,
I right,
I
DC?
yeah, I've not.
Okay, so as I said earlier, don't stress out too much, man. Watch as much things as you can, and we are used to it. Cole and I, we've been doing this podcast for a year, and like it's normal that most of the time we are able to, but sometimes we don't, and it's fine. DC, it's fine. Don't stress out, and nonetheless, you being there is always amazing. I like having your input, and I like hearing the younger, um, the younger demo, if we can call it that way, of our generation. You're the youngest here, so having like some kind of fresh takes from
Yeah,
you is always appreciated, and I think it's
yeah,
very valuable because I feel like a lot of these shows are really aimed at you, and maybe that's why you like Batwoman and Gotham Knight more than us
mhm,
because we are older and maybe we don't really connect that much with that.
mhm,
So yeah, don't stress out, man. You're very valuable, and we like having you around.
yeah.
So the Flash season 8. Um, I will let you start, Cole. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, pretty bad season, but yeah. I wouldn't say it's like the worst, but yeah, it's just bad. It's sort of like season 9, sort of. I would say it's a bit better than, obviously better than season 9, no, because season 9 was just, yeah, let's not discuss that, but uh, pretty bad though, yeah.
Okay, so for me, I thought season 8 was very average. It wasn't as bad as Cole thinks. For me, at least. For me, my take is it was average. Um, I feel like season 6, 7, 8, and 9 were some kind of return to form, but it wasn't a perfect return to form. Like some moments really feel like early season of the Flash, but then we get like the Eric Wallace era that's kind of shit. So you're like sometimes you have like these great moments and then you have like the Eric Wallace moments, and you're like, "What is this shit?" um, so let's say that. What did you think of Armageddon, the first 5 episode, Cole? Cole, are you there?
Again, this will happen like in and out. My mic will sometimes have issues unmuting, but yeah, I mean the Armageddon stuff was probably like some of the better stuff in this season. I would say I probably enjoyed those episodes the most, and then after that, I really hated all the other episodes like that came like right after. They weren't as bad as like some terrible episodes in other seasons, but they were still really awful for the most part. Then I thought episode 11 was a bit better, and episode 13, but then episode 12 and 14, I thought, and 15 and all that, what I thought was just, yeah, also just as bad, and so on, just in and out there. The last two episodes, just like Armageddon, were kind of all right, but I don't know. And then I would say that my favorite episode was, I guess, episode 18. I think it was like the best made on a technical level and acting level, filmmaking level. Some issues with the writing, of course, and stories mixed. But overall, out of the season, I would say it's probably like the best episode. Uh, if besides like counting maybe the Armageddon stuff. So
Okay. So I will say for me it was average. And here's like the biggest reason is Armageddon was a great start for me. Then it was followed by like these interludes, and I think they were decent. Most of them were decent. Then we got like the Dead Storm stuff. The Dead Storm stuff was sometimes really bad, and other times they were decent. But the biggest sin of that season was really like the last graphic novel, the Negative Forces Shenanigans. I really didn't like that. That was like the low point of the season, and we also like had issues with dialogue. Like it's Eric Wallace signed, it's like it's made by Eric Wallace when Allegra is such a focus, and it's rough. They tried to set up Chester and Allegra in that season, and I'm like, why? What's the point? I don't care about Allegra. I like Chester. I will always be Chester's biggest defender because I do think they needed someone like Cisco because Cisco left and Chester filled that place. But it was such a wasted character, and this is why I ate so much Eric Wallace. We get Cecile like having stuff every season. We get Allegra pretending to have stuff, and then we just have Chester, which is the best character Eric Wallace did. That just sitting there and look at them, and he's like, "Why am I not getting a piece of it?" Like Chester only episode was dealing with his father passing away. That was like the only highlight Chester had in the entire season. And that's probably the only good thing Eric Wallace did with Chester in like 3 seasons. It's sad. I just ate that. Um, I think the pacing was terrible. Even if it felt like a, I think that season was like 20 episodes, if I'm right. Even
Yeah,
if it was like 20 episode, I feel like they could have cut down like to probably like 16. I feel like the Allegra stuff was shit. Some of the Dead Storm was shit. Um, and some of the negative as well wasn't that great. Like the finale, what's that, man? Is it Power Ranger or something? It's like Barry is just sitting and Thon is just deleting himself. um, it's sad. It's just very bad. So here are my rough thoughts. What are yours, DC?
I agree with you. I think season 8 for me is probably the most inconsistent season of the show. And yeah, I do agree. The negative forces was just the worst. Armageddon for me was okay because I enjoyed some of the episodes, but I think the episode 3, which focused way too much on Cecile, episode 5, what is that? Um, the Death Storm arc for me, or as the Ghost Rider arc, as I like to call it, was for me the best. And apart from that, I think season 8 is just okay. I think it's just so inconsistent with its quality.
Yeah, that's like the best way to put it. So here are the bullet point question. Question number one: what would be DC your top three episode in season 8?
Hmm.
Your favorite ones you
Hmm.
deem good.
Definitely episode 16, episode 8, and the episode 13. Those are like the 3 episodes I enjoyed the most, or top 3.
Okay, what about you, Cole?
Top three, you said favorite episodes.
Yeah,
Okay, well, not maybe not counting like the Armageddon ones. I'll say,
Armageddon we will do an exception. Yeah, like
yeah,
except if all of your three are there. Is it the
yeah,
case?
it's fine. I won't count like any
Okay,
episodes that are like parts of things. So no episode 19 either. I'm just gonna do like the solo ones mainly.
okay,
My top three would be episode 18, episode 13, and episode. Yeah, honestly, the third one's kind of hard. Just like picking which one is just. I guess up in an episode. I guess maybe 16. So yeah, I'll go with that. I guess.
okay. So my top three was Into the Still Forest. That was number 15, and ironically, I think this is one of the best episodes Eric Wallace did because
Which one?
15 Into the
Uh,
Still Forest. Um, It felt like a Flash Time one. It felt like a Speed Force one. This one was a standout episode. I do think that was very enjoyable into the Still Force, episode 15. That's one of the best episodes Eric Wallace made, like outside of season 6. Um, number 2 for me would be Deathfall, number 13. I think this is the episode where Killer Frost dies, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, that's the episode.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like
Um,
it.
we also had Reckless, number 10. If I remember correctly, Reckless was the one where Frost wanted to be a bait, and the mother was like, "No, don't become the bait" or something. I think that's the episode. And for me, there are like two honorable mention: Resurrection and Men in the Yellow Tie, like 11 and 18. They were also quite good. But yeah, my top three is really like Into the Still Force, Dead Falls, and Reckless. And yeah, next up, what would be your worst three, starting with Cole?
Worst three would probably be, again, not counting those. Episode 17, episode 14, and just like that, the third one's kind of tough for me, but it would maybe be like either episode 9 or episode 6 around that. So, yeah.
Okay, what about you, DC?
So for me, the three worst episodes. There's episode 3, Armageddon Part 3. There is majority of the negative forces or all of the negative forces. So, and another episode I didn't enjoy. I guess also Armageddon Part 5.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
So, my worst three, I will let both of you take a guess on the first among the three worst for me.
Mm.
I already know one of them.
I'm sure one of them is probably like Armageddon Part 5.
Nope.
Oh, really? Hmm.
I know one of them has to be that Allegro episode. That's one of them.
What about
Uh,
you, Cole?
yeah, I guess that's probably one of them. And then yeah,
Allegra episode was godly awful. That's like the second
yeah.
worst episode in the
Problem is,
entire
I don't
show.
remember which episode it was.
That
In
was
it.
17.
Oh, right. Yeah, that.
And for me, that was like the second worst episode in the entire show. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was godly awful.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it felt like Legends of Tomorrow. Like,
Okay, I'm sure the other one has to be like 14, right?
wait, let me see. That's funny because they are quite high in my list, but that I feel like I will need to reset that list on my next watch because that list is weird. Um,
Yeah.
where are you? I'm trying to find the second worst.
Maybe it's lockdown. I don't know.
Ooh, I think it's actually Lockdown. You're right. Lockdown would be my second worst. That's like the episode where they're trapped in Central City Police Department, I believe. Was
Yeah,
it?
that's the one. Yeah, it's the one with
Yeah.
Gold. Yeah, yeah. I actually enjoyed the episode quite a lot. I do wish it was more of a Team Flash versus like a virus because I think that would make a little bit more sense because COVID and the lockdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do wish it was more like diseases, virus, like Team Flash trying to stop something like that.
Next up would be the fire next time. That was eight. That was like the first episode in the graphic novel of the Dead Storm arc. Uh, honorable mention: Funeral for a Friend. It could have been amazing. It was just shit because it's Eric Wallace in charge.
You know,
Um,
I
Yeah,
per-
it's so sad, man. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say no. It's kind of funny how you guys that don't like that episode. Yeah, I'm probably the only one that actually out of the three of us that actually enjoyed the episode.
Look, it's not uh some of the worst episodes in the entire show. I will say that it's one of the worst in that season, and I think that season is a very weird season for me because I thought that was a very average season, but it had really good episode. Like individual episode, I think are really good, but I think it's more like the overall season that feels average. Because even if like some of the episodes are really good, they are not like blood work level. They are not like season 1 and 2 level. They are just really good episodes. So I think overall season 8 has some really strong episode, but it's more like the season overall, like the plots and even lockdown. I look in my list; it's quite high. I need to update this. Like I feel like I was meant to stream a tier list. Uh, like I was meant to stream the tier list I was making as I was watching the show for my retrospective, but I realized, man, that list is broken. I need to rework it, and I would need to rewatch the show again. And anyway, I plan on rewatching the show anyway because the show is now over, and I need to like milk out as much content as I can as there's still hype about the show. People still talk about the show. It's negative most likely, but people still talk about the show. It's not really dead in the water yet. Um, but yeah, like I feel like this season had really strong episode, but the season overall is not good. It's average. So what would be your grade, Cole, out of 10?
Uh, let's give it a 3.5.
What about you, DC?
5 out of 5. 5 out of 10.
But this is funny because I say it was very average. For me, it was a 7.5. For me, it's average. For me to be good, you need to be at least 8. And if you're like 8.5, you're great. If you're 9, you're amazing. If you're 9.5 above, you're masterpiece level. And for me, it's average. 7.5 is average for me. Uh, I remember giving season 6 the same score. I would say season 6 was actually better than 8. As much as I don't like the back half, there are still episodes I remember being good in the back half. And I think the blood work thing there was Eric Wallace's best storyline. He really shit the bed with the rest. um, So yeah, now that we covered all 9 seasons on the podcast, I'm wondering, starting with DC, if you would grade the entire show out of 10, what would be your grade and why?
Hmm. That's tough because season 3 through season 6 is like 10 out of 10. Season 1's like an 8, and season 2 is like a 4 or 2. Season 7 through 9 are just fives. Hmm. Probably like an 8 or 7.
Oh, really? That's very interesting. What about you, Cole? If you would grade the entire show out of 10,
Uh, like a 4.5.
that's very close from mine. If I would grade the entire show as a whole, I would say for me it's a 5 out of 10. And it's really sad. I'm the first 2 season biggest defender, but it just doesn't feel the same past that point. And there are some really eye moment like the blood work part that was amazing, but then you got like the fourth storyline, whether it's season 7 mommy daddy or freaking season 8, where the guy basically deletes himself in the end because I need to be powerful. It's not even Barry that defeats Elbard. It's so sad. For me, it's a 5, and I wish it was higher. And since it's a 5, I would never recommend the show to anybody. It's very sad, and it's hilarious because Agents of Shield, as much as the show wasn't impressive from start to finish, it was a better written show. It was also a more consistent show as an entire. I would rather like recommend Agents of Shield, and now the reason why I bring Agents of Shield on is because eventually we will cover Agents of Shield. I'm actually curious to rewatch the show again a second time, and it's funny how Marvel at that point didn't have that much experience with TV shows, and they did it right, like on their first try or almost their first try. Well, DC at that point had Arrow as some kind of blueprint, but they missed the mark with the Flash. It's so sad, man. It's wasted potential. So let's rank out the season for you, Cole. What would be your ranking of the season from worst to best?
Of all the seasons,
Yeah, all 9 seasons.
oh fuck, I don't know if I would like. I'll be honest, I don't know if like I would really remember completely, but I'll try my best. I mean, let's see. Yeah, I'll say right now that yeah, like the first two or so seasons are definitely the best. So I'll put those at the top there. Um, season three had issues, but I still think it was up there. I think it might be honestly third still. Season four was when it really dropped off for me. It was so I'll wait to rank that. I was like, then I would put season five maybe fourth, and then maybe season then season four fifth, then maybe season probably season eight six, then six seventh, then nine eighth, and then the last one, season six or seven. I forgot what it was, but season seven, I believe, would be last, which I just thought had it was just terrible, start to finish almost. Anyway, there we go.
What about you, DC? How would you do your ranking of all 9 seasons from worst to best?
All right, so from worst, number 9 would be season 2. Number 8 would be season 9. Number 7 would be season 7. Number 6 would be season 8. Number 5 would be season 1. Number 4 would be season 5. Number 3 would be season 3. Number 2 would be season 4. And number 1 would be season 6.
Very interesting take. You see, this is exactly why I enjoy a lot having you, because you have very different takes, and I'm sure like in your circles at school, if you speak about the show, you and your friend are probably similar on what you like. They may have like a few differences here and there, but I think you got like that fresh blood take on things. Um, as of me, and worst, like place number 9, season 5, Rock Bottom. It's among the worst thing I've seen on TV. Only Supergirl and Batwoman did worst. Um, after that, place number 8 would be actually DC also did worse. DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Um, anyway, number 8 would be season 9. It's such a shame that the last season is this low, and pretty much everyone's list. It's like the last chance Eric Wallace had to make the show great, and nobody freaking liked it. It's like, bruh, man, you had one shot. If you needed to do one season right, it's season 9. And you missed it so hard. I don't see anybody liking it. Like, even Eric's Reloaded, which was the content creator that was very positive about the entire show. I'm sure he liked most of the show, probably more than me or Cole, but even him, he was like, that season was bad. I'm like, even when the most positive people are on board by saying it's bad, it's just very bad, and it's sad going out on a flop like that instead of a bang. It's sad. Um, then place number 7 for me would be season 7. It's hilarious 7-7. That season was bad. Um, After 7, it would be season 3. So in sixth place, season 3 for me. I already mentioned lots of my issues there. I think it's really in the middle of the show. It's not the worst season. It's not the best one. It had better stuff than other season, but it also had like worse stuff like character assassination. I will never forgive that season for what they did to freaking Barry and Savitar and all that shenanigan. Um, Next up, place number 5 would be season 4. Then place number 4 would be season 8. And place number 3 would be season 6. I really wish season 6 was better. It had so much good things, but then you got a mirror mistress that messed up everything. Like, just cut mirror mistress. This is the best season of the show, but you cannot. You cannot say I will only watch like the first 8 episodes or so, like prior to the crossover, or maybe like the first 8 in Marathon because Marathon was so very good. You just cannot do that. Mirror Mistress messed up everything. Iris as a character was reduced to nothing. Really, like Iris' character could have been great. As much as I didn't like season 3, I think they were trying to do something with her in the back half. Like, oh, she knows she will maybe die, so she does her best to like leave her print and tell everyone she existed. And that was fine. That was like the best part of season 3. But then you got Savitar. Um, Now, in second place would be season 1. I liked season 1 a lot. Um, and my favorite season is season 2. I think it's the strongest season. And it's also sad because each time I've rewatched the show, that season got slightly worse, and it's sad. It's so sad. Like, the best the Flash could do was a 9 out of 10 for me. It was the best they could do. Then we got Agents of Shield. They got like the first 3 seasons are almost on that level. Then it dropped off, but it never went as low as the Flash. Never. It's sad, man. It's just sad. So, anything else to add to this Flash discussion?
Not for me.
Okay. What about you, Cole?
No.
Okay, I will take picture of the timestamp, and we shall move to Batwoman season 2 and 3. We won't spoil much 3 because DC is invested in the show, and we won't ruin the thing for you. So, season 2, we had brief talk about it, and you were there, right, DC, when we talked about
Yeah,
season 2?
yeah, yeah.
So, I won't rehash what I already said. I also kind of forgot most of it. All I remember is giving it a 5, which was higher than my first watch. And looking back, man, it's okay. I mean, considering all bad season 1 was, that's clearly an improvement for me. So, what is your take so far? You are 13 episodes in.
Yeah.
I leave you the floor here. Talk about
Hmm.
Batwoman.
So far I have been enjoying it. I'm not sure which season I prefer, but I think I prefer season one a little bit more. Yeah, I do prefer season one more. Season two I still enjoy. I enjoyed the introduction of Coriana, and let's just say Sophia is gorgeously hot.
That's okay, man.
Yeah,
Go
she's
ahead, man. Don't wear any gloves.
yeah, yeah, and I think Stefan is just a great character because of how it's like you first think she's like this killer queen leader type character, but it turns out she's more than that. And I kind of like how Coriana is kind of like meant to be the Batwoman version of the League of Assassins, but in a different way. And I also enjoyed how they show Alice's this story there, and it kind of explains why in season one she was able to fight Batwoman pretty well. And yeah, other things I enjoyed. I enjoyed the mystery of them saying Kate died in like a plane crash, and it turns out Black Mask actually has her. Yeah, I've gone to Black Mask part, and right now I have to say Black Mass is freaking insane, especially that scene where he has someone like saw off. I was shocked. And yeah. Also episode 4 probably was one of the darkest episodes I've ever seen of TV. Um which I know honestly I'm still shocked that they even had a topic of kidnapping or child kidnapping, which I have to say more reasons to enjoy the show because of how it's probably the darkest show I've ever seen. Like I'm gonna straight up say this. I'd say in terms of graphic and violence, I'd say Batwoman actually might be the darkest, like the worst when it comes to like how graphic it looks. And
Daredevil was and Punisher were much darker and grittier and
mm,
disgusting. But I know you're not the like Daredevil biggest fan. I
yeah,
know your take, which is a really unique take.
yeah,
But maybe that's the take because at that point, um, you wanted to shock people. You know, maybe if you're rewatching Daredevil today, maybe you would have a different opinion.
mm,
Anyway, keep going, man.
mm. Yeah. I also enjoy Ryan Walder, which I have to say she actually is just as good of a character as Kate was, and I actually kind of can see where you meant by saying Ryan was definitely a little more optimistic, but I still felt she was arguably just as serious, which I enjoyed. I mean, yeah. But I think the highlight for me has been Luke. I think his character is 5 million times better. I think his chemistry with Ryan is just there. There's that bonding. Yeah, I think Luke has been the best part of the best part of the story for me, of the show for me, because of how he's just that fun character who can always get beaten up, but yet he still puts a smile on your face. But yeah, yeah,
So you will like what comes next because Luke
yeah.
becomes much more important. Like I feel like the back half of season 2 is heavily focused on Luke without going into any spoiler. Now I will also say like um season 4 no episode 4 season 2 and season 1 episode 4 were very similar. I thought season 1 was worse, but it was as dark. But I feel like season 2 did a better version of what they tried to do in season 1. But yeah, that's pretty much it without any spoiler. Ryan Wilder, man, I like her a lot. In season 3, I feel like She is not as good without any spoiler, but yeah, is all you wanted to say about season 2 before Cole and I talked about season 3 without spoiler?
Yeah, fun.
So, Cole, what did you think of season 3? Keep in mind, DC hasn't seen it, so we will try to be as vague as we can. What's your take, Cole?
Yeah, sorry, I just got a phone call. I'll be right back. You can go first.
Okay, so season 3 shocked me this time around on how better it was in my first watch. It was my second time watching season 3, and it was better. It's not perfect, it's not amazing, but it was much better. And I will ask you, DC, before I move on, do you know who are the villains in season 3? Or I should say, do you mind knowing who are the villains without necessarily spoiling it, or per se? Do you know who are the villains in season 3?
Yeah, I know. It's Poison Ivy, or at least a version of her. I know the
Yes.
villain.
And do you know if there's another villain in season 3?
I know Mary, the character of Mary, plays a role as like the Poison Ivy character.
Okay, so you don't know about the other villains. So okay, we will focus our discussion on Poison Ivy without going into much spoiler. We will leave the other parts of the season in the dark, so we don't spoil it to DC. Poison Ivy, she was terrible. She was the worst part of season 3. She was disgusting. Not only like her motivation is just the cliche trope of Poison Ivy, but the actress, the acting, the directing, the writing, everything sucks about her. It's like, bruh, why like there's like 10 episodes in season 13 that are heavily focused on Poison Ivy, and there are parts that set up a backup villain, but it's heavily centered about Poison Ivy, and she is awful. I truly despise the character, and it's hilarious because Gotham TV show had a Poison Ivy, and that Poison Ivy did grow over the year. She became Poison Ivy around season 4 or 5, but she was introduced in season 1, and that Poison Ivy was good, and all of the actors that portrayed Poison Ivy in Gotham were good and well directed and well acted, and some are freaking child actresses, I should say. So how come we can get a new Poison Ivy that's actually worse than the one we had in Gotham? Gotham did it better. It's shocking, and Gotham wasn't perfect by any means, but Poison Ivy and most of the villains in Gotham were well done. And Batwoman, they had a shot at a villain already did in Gotham, and they missed the mark so badly for me. What did you think of Poison Ivy, Cole?
Yeah, I hated her. Do you want me to talk about season two first or season three?
Uh, we did speak about season 2, right?
Yeah, right. So I guess season three. I guess yeah, we
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
So
Again, with season two, though,
we
it was an improvement. I still wasn't really into it, but I could see they were trying, and there were good aspects in it. Season three, I went back down. It's still not anywhere near, like it's not garbage like season one, but it was pretty fucking bad to me. It went straight back down again, like even worse in season two. Yeah, and Poison Ivy was just fucking terrible. Uh, and the filmmaking and everything just went back down. Cinematography I didn't like, lighting I didn't like. Uh, and I thought the actress's performance was worse, but I don't think it was her fault. Just really disappointed.
so another thing that was hilarious. with season 3, and I don't get into any spoiler again, but the big fight between Batwoman and Poison Ivy didn't make any sense. Poison Ivy in this iteration is OP. She is broken. She is like, I won't say Superman level, but I could see her like at least incapacitating like Superman threat. Like maybe not the Flash because the Flash has so much axe, but she clearly is on another playing field. She is powerful, and it's hilarious how at some point she's like, "Oh yeah, I will go in a fist fight with Ryan Walder." Girl, why? I wanted to smash my TV. Like that meta human is OP. And because the character and the writer are all stupid, they nerf her by making her going into a fist fight. What did you think of that, Cole? Do you remember? Do you know what I refer to? A freaking fist fight. I guess Cole is speechless because he remembers. Cole, are you there?
I think he's probably preoccupied with that phone call he said.
Or
Yeah.
the neighbors, the neighbors, the
Oh
neighbors.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, neighbors were at my door. They would knock in. Fuck.
So yeah,
They knock so fucking loudly every time. I bet you can hear them through my fucking mic.
So I went on a rant on how stupid the writer and the character are. Ivy, she is broken, she is OP, she is powerful, and guess what she does? Instead of like killing Batwoman on the spot, she go on a fist fight. What did you think of that, Cole?
Wanted to die. That was so stupid.
She makes two sticks with branches. She's like, let's fight. I was like, bruh, why? Why? She could murdering Ryan Walter on the spot. And it's hilarious because we got someone, I won't spoil anything, but we got someone that could be on that power level. But that someone just doesn't show up because the plot wants Ryan Walder to take on Poison Ivy. It's like, bruh, why? Why? Also, why not any spoiler? Remember in the last episode, we got Ryan Walder hanging on a ledge with someone, and we just got a 90-pound girl just lifting her over the ledge with the other person. I'm like, wow, she can bench like 400 pounds, and that person's like 900 pounds, and it's like on floor number 20. So there's gravity. Like, wow, impressive. Even adrenaline. Don't give me the excuse of adrenaline. It doesn't add up. How can you bench that much, man? Try to defend that, Cole, please.
Uh,
Am I crazy? You
well,
know
no, that
what
there
team
are
I'm
certain
talking
there are.
about, right?
Listen, yes, there are certain things that are like. I do think like yes, it maybe not be like the most realistic in circumstances, but there are a good chunk of people in the world who and of any gender who can genuinely do that. So for me, it's not as much of a flaw. Like even if like in most case scenarios should be like one way, there are still people in the world who can do that stuff. In this scenario, like that's pretty
Unbelievable.
impossible. That was like, I mean, if they explained it was like adrenaline, sure. Like I've seen crazy shit. Like I've seen like there's situations before where it's like some like a father was like a husband or whatever was like working on like a car and then it like collapses under him and then the wife literally fucking like lifts it up out of adrenaline. So I mean, I've seen crazy situations. So I mean, if you want to go with adrenaline, then explain it, but they didn't. So it's not adrenaline.
But
It's just bullshit.
even if it was, bro, it's 400 pounds. Let's be honest. Ryan Walder has a suit. She is heavy. She is maybe like herself is like maybe slightly more heavier than the person that lifted her from the ledge. Let's say 130 because she is fit and she has muscle. Just her 130. Add gravity to this shit. And then add the entire other person. The entire other person, I'm telling you, that person is probably 200 minimum because that person looked fit. It just doesn't add up. Even if they have the adrenaline, like I could understand someone lifting maybe 200 pounds with adrenaline despite gravity, maybe just maybe. But now it's like 300, almost 400 with gravity, 20 floor. Why? They broke my brain. I was watching that. I wanted to smash my screen. I was like, why? Like there's suspend disbelief and there's suspend yourself. It's like bolting, you know. It went dark, but hey, bruh. Um, so season 3 has that kind of issues, or like the trees randomly kills people, but because plot armor, uh, Ryan Walder doesn't die. If you know which episode I'm talking about, like in the woods, in the cabin. You know what I'm talking about, Cole, right? When they started
Mhm.
arguing and screaming, and the trees woke up. The
Oh,
trees
that,
killed
that that was
everyone except
fantastic.
them. Cole?
Yeah, that was fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about. That was a great scene.
Oh,
Season 3, man. Like, the first half was the worst. The back half, the second villain outside of Ryan Walder, I like that villain a lot. That was the best part. Uh, if we had an entire season dedicated to that villain, that would have been a blast. But we had the poison ivy shit, and we had stupid stuff happening because the plot wants it to happen. Oh yeah, and remember when they went on a building, and there were like 20 guys that are like really tall and muscular, and like the trio of 90 pounds women just go through them like they're butter. Like, woman, I know girls can be strong, but that strong taking on freaking 20 tug like that are twice your size, and you just flip them like they weight nothing. When you fight someone, weight matter. This is not for nothing that boxing and wrestling or whatever the sport that implies people fighting, it's not for nothing that weight classes. Try lifting heavier than you. I can say maybe you can, but you will be tired after lifting someone heavier than you, especially on a fight where your punch will like your punch will be weaker than your opponent because you're smaller and you are not in that person weight class. So you're telling me these three women can just take on 20 guys and just flip them left and right?
Of course.
Look, I will bring back Jessica Jones again because each time I see that shit happening, I remember Jessica Jones because she has super strength. So it's amazing to see her flipping people left and right. But here we are talking about three normal women in a show that pretend to be grounded. They pretend, and it's shit. um, Oh yeah, there was another stupid moment where they wanted to, like, okay, so I got first aid certification and stuff. I know how to help out people because that's part of what we need to be a security agent. We have like a 16 hours first aid class we need to renew each 3 years. And we learned something very important. Blanket. When someone is freezing to death, you don't add a blanket to that person if it's not a eating blanket, because that will keep the temperature of that person at the level it was. So if the person is freezing and you just add a normal blanket on that person will keep freezing because the blanket itself doesn't warm up the person. To warm up someone, you need to expose that person to heat. So there are types of blanket that are giving eats. And this is good because these are giving eat, you know? And remember this episode, Cole, where we had someone freezing to death and they just add random blankets. They don't get to show you like the blanket that eats because they're different. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, again, not everything needs to be explained, but yeah, I mean that is interesting. Again, not everybody like takes a class to like know though. I mean that is definitely a nitpick that's valid to bring up, but it's one that I'm willing to forgive and stuff.
I won't because you have that character that uses cold and you don't even freaking research basic first aid. Don't
Uh,
look too far. Like, writer, they're just lazy. Let's be honest. This is Batwoman writer we are talking about. Um, and on top of that, Mary is a doctor, so she fully knows what I'm talking about. So the fact that a doctor would do something that stupid only tells us that they don't bother researching anything, and the character are just as stupid as the writer, you know. And this is what really insulted me. Like, it's a nitpick. Okay, I agree, it's a nitpick, but for me, it does matter. You know, it's she is a doctor. You want your show, your movie to be believable. If you have a doctor in your team that does that kind of stupid shit, how do you expect me to be invested? I know more about that, and I'm not a doctor. You know, like doctors, they know that in depth. Um. So yeah, if someone is freezing body to body to warm up that person is one thing. So for example, you really want to give a blanket, you warm up the person with your own heat in the blanket. That could be a thing because the blanket is there to preserve um, the temperature, you know. So you can do some body to body things there, you fully can. uh, but just a blanket like that is it's you will just keep your client freezing to death, you know. So these are issues here and there. Or there's another episode, people are drugged, and for some reason the plot wants this person to move, so it's not really well explained how that person can move like half of the time. Like, when the plots want the person to be incapacitated, the person is incapacitated, but when they need the person to fight back, the person fight back. At some point they do explain it with adrenaline and stuff, but it's not even, and it's not all the time. Like, sometimes it's just okay, now we need the person to move, so the person forgets she's under drugs. You know which episode I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
That wasn't consistent at all. Like, I won't take away the adrenaline aspect by the end of that episode, but throughout the episode they still move around. It's like they were meant to be paralyzed, but they painted themselves into a corner by paralyzing the people involved. So they're like, oh, let's just pretend they can move to make the episode longer, you know, plot armor. It bothers me so much. It's like you don't want to paint yourself into a corner like that. You just don't want to. you pretend so much to be a realistic and grounded show. It's like, man, it's so rough. It's so rough. Now, I will admit the dialogue got better, but sometimes it's kind of shit. Let's be honest, it's Batwoman there. Um, so yeah, as I said, the second villain we get that season is great. Performance, directing, writing, everything on point. But the show itself is still filled of plot hole left and right. Um, I feel like Ryan Walder that season is also kind of left behind. What did you think of Ryan Walder in season three? Cole.
Mm, I wish that was more done. I thought it was a little lacking, but yeah, it was just kind of there with them within the season. I don't know.
Would you say she had any growth?
Yeah. No, so, sorry. Did I just say him? Sorry, her. So, maybe I would say a tad bit of growth, but really not much, in my opinion. Like, and they didn't really like show scenes that like where she like then over time grows. She made it was mainly just like switching automatically, like without going through things as they should have shown as much, in my opinion. I don't know. They didn't really cover it well.
Would you say she's still as funny as what she was in season two, or they toned down that aspect of her character that season for some reason?
Mm, yeah, toned down a bit. Not as much, but as other characters, like in some areas, but yeah, it definitely toned down though, but still sort of decent there. Like it wasn't terrible.
What do you think of the anti-hero character? If you
I
know
didn't
what I
care.
mean, you didn't care.
No.
It's funny because they speak about people being held accountable and stuff, and I kind of like the idea, but they spit on that idea so many times because she's never held accountable, and someone else is not really accountable. Like uh, you, like DC vaguely know that thing, but I will say Mary is never held accountable for anything. So when they speak about, oh, we must pay for what we do and Mary just doesn't, it feels so odd that they have that team, they just f around with it. I'm like, bruh, I like your team, you just cannot freaking handle it, you just cannot write it well in your show. um yeah. um I'd say, I think now we covered a lot of ground without going into any spoiler. We will wait until DC really um, dive deep into that season to really talk a bit more about it. Um, but what did you think of the relationship between Ryan Walder and her love interest?
Once again, I didn't care. I thought it was boring how they did it.
You're damn
So,
right. You're damn right. I agree. So I'd say we move on to like the grade out of 10.
mhm.
What would be your grade out of 10?
Probably maybe like a 2.5. So yeah, I gave the first season like a 1. I gave season 2 like a 3.5. So yeah, maybe around like a 2 to 2.5. That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. I gave season 3 a 6 out of 10. I really enjoyed the second villain. If that was only a second villain story the entire season, I'm sure it would be like 8, 9. But the poison ivy shit, all of the plot, all the shit writing, I cannot forgive that. For me, it's a 6. And a 6 for me, it's mediocre. Mediocre at best. So, we are done with Batwoman season 3 now. Before you leave, this, is there anything else you'd like to share about Batwoman or any of the topics we covered?
Hmm. No, not for me.
And thank you very much for joining us this week again. You're great. I hope you feel slightly better than when we started the stream. And I'm glad we had you this week again. And as I said, no pressure. Focus on the show because like there's like 2 weeks you need to catch up on, and I think this week there's no episode. I think they are on break this week. I will still double check and keep both of you updated. I think they're on break, like the last break they take. But still, catch up to that. We
Hmm.
will start off next week with that, and then we will cover the movies you were able to watch. So,
All
this
right.
anything you'd like to plug?
Nope.
Thank you very much again. You are amazing. Take care of yourself and have a good evening, man.
Same. You too. Bye.
Bye. So it's you and I, Cole. You were able to watch both Gotham Knight and Superman and Lois, right?
Yeah. Again, now, unfortunately, again with the time, yeah, probably won't have much time to discuss. But yeah, I did watch it. Yeah,
Let's start off with Gotham Knights.
right. I mean,
Episode
yes,
10.
right.
Did we cover episode 10? Did we? No, because
No,
that
we
was
have
last week.
episode 10 and 11 of that, and then
Yeah,
10 and 11 of Superman and Lois.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the worst. Gotham Knight, episode 10.
Yeah. Garbage as always. I thought just all the characters were done horribly. I hate the filmmaking, the editing, the visuals. I thought this one had an interesting premise and with the detective character, but they did nothing interesting with it. It was just all wasted. And yeah, just garbage as always. Not nothing else to really say, honestly. Like anything else is just like repeating, you know.
Okay. So for me, that episode was mediocre at best. It was actually one of, I think that was actually the best episode we got so far, but it's not much said because the show is terrible. I think we are all on board with that.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
it had potential this episode. I still thought it was done horribly though.
yeah, exactly. First issue, RV doing what his other half told him to do because that looks smart, right? Amazing. Writing. Bruh, why? This is like peak stupidity. Like we got the Batwoman nitpicks and we got that. Oh yeah, I will just listen to my Bat app. uh, they broke my brain. Uh, turning Batman into a villain because he killed people, man. Oh my. Why do you hate so much Batman? People watch your shit because this is a Gotham lore and shit. Why do you hate the person you exploit? It's like hating your slave for being slaves. That's a bad analogy, but you know what I mean, right? Right, Cole?
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. I have some slaves out back, and I hate them all the time. They keep doing work. God damn.
yeah, exactly. Um, Turner can't act. Bruh, you know me. I don't nitpick that much about acting. I'm very lenient. I give chances, but man, he just cannot act. Harper snapping at Blondie out of jealousy. Oh my. Love triangle crap. tilling instead of showing RV's father death. You see, that would be a perfect moment for a flashback, but they need to save some money, so they will make people talk instead of showing, like typical CW fashion.
Yeah.
Speech about men's trophy. It's hilarious because we know serial killer they get trophies, and it's not only the men. Women also do this shit. But yeah, men are shit. So let's just say they are the only one having trophies. Terrible dialogue about rich kids. They broke my brain. They broke my brain. There's like no other words. um, RV finding out about his other half. This I liked it. So now I'm more like in my likes territory. Inside RV killing his father was good, even if the execution was shit. It was interesting to learn that he's the killer. The team leaving their hideout was fine. RV struggle was fine. Carrie mother helping out felt like a true mother. The love interest living with his mother. Oh yeah, that's the boyfriend, the shit boyfriend. They basically killed up because men. Love interest getting killed by his mother. Evil RV taking over RV body. Now I will say this. I suspect because the acting of RV changed. I suspect because RV was dumb, he gave control to his other half. And episode 10 and 11, we basically access the other half. At least the acting got slightly better because now we can clearly see by the way he speaks and acts, we can clearly see it's a different person. And I kind of like that aspect. It's like I need more of this shit show. I need more of it. What do you think of that? Do you think I'm right and I hit the nerve at the right place?
Yeah, I think you're kind of right.
Like they have so much wasted potential, so much shit idea left and right, really. But at least this they got it right. Like it's clear for me. It's art. It's like the other half. Okay, for me, I did spoke enough about episode 10. For me, that's a 6 out of 10. What
Yeah.
about you?
Like a 1.5.
Okay. Next up, episode 11. Episode 11. Oh my, that one was
Uh,
worst.
yeah, that was garbage. No redeeming aspects this time, just garbage all around. And I hated the idea of this episode. Unlike the episode 10.
I didn't like anything they tried setting up, and yeah, I think I honestly hated the characters in this the most, more than any other episode prior to this. Yeah, villain stupid, action stupid, editing made my fucking eyes bleed. Visuals were garbage. Yep. Oh yeah, and the sound was horrible. Fuck me. Okay. Anyway, what do you think?
That was awful. And it's hilarious because I don't even have that many issues, man. Like it's one of these episodes where I barely have issues, but I have almost no likes at all. And the issues I got are actually so heavy. Like they take off so many points just by existing. Filler opening scene, just cut this shit. Shit dialogue, bad dialogue. Blondie parents are just shit plot device to show why her life sucks. What do you think about that?
Uh, I don't care. That's what I think. What they did. I don't care about their fucking that any of that shit.
Ope's speech is all about self-insert. I can't remember that. Ope's speech is all about self-insert from the writer. I can't remember. I just can't. Do you remember a speech about Ope?
Speech about hope.
Yeah, there's the Ope speech.
Hmm.
Can't remember this shit.
Yeah, I don't really remember. All I remember is just that fucking shit with the remember something about saying the truth will set you free or whatever. Fuck me.
Oh yeah, I think that's it. You hit the
Oh
nerve,
yeah,
I think.
wanted Bruce Wayne's son to step up
It
isn't a good
feels
thing.
like a fucking self-insert. It doesn't feel like a person talking.
And it doesn't feel like that character talking, even though we know nothing about the character really.
Yeah. Um Plot convenience, Turner switching cars. Oh yeah, he got arrested by cops, and instead of like staying under that cop custody, he's like transferred to another car. It's just freaking convenient that his ally is there in the car. Don't you think? Am I too nitpicky
Yeah,
there?
yeah. No, it's convenient.
It's stupid. Another stop loses point 0.5 because I realized that after rewatch, not necessarily rewatching, but more thinking back about what I've seen. Um, Plot convenience: the coin saving RV life. The coin basically stopped the bullet. It's like, what the fuck, man? Okay. That's it for my issues. That was a bad episode again. My likes: RV feeling different. His performance is interesting because we can tell it's double ganger or like the darker part of himself. Duella was fine. Some of the things were funny. The brother is likable, and that's it. I don't care about like the love shenanigans. I actually despise that. I don't care, man. It's pointless. Why do you need so much romance? Don't you try to make like a Gotham Knights show and not like Riverdale? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm too harsh. Am I? Cool.
No, you're not being too harsh.
So I gave this episode a 5 out of 10. What about you?
1 out of 10.
I guess that's it for Gotham Knights. I will mark down timestamp.
Yep.
Gotham Knights. Episode 10, 11. I'm glad that shit got canceled. We forgot to mention that in the news part because I was kind of destabilized by DC losing a friend, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I kind of forgot we had a like an intro topic. Now I remember about it, but I'm glad Gotham Knight got canceled and we don't get a freaking second season to this shit. It's just awful. Like it's worse than Batwoman. I'd say it's almost as bad as Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know. What do you think?
Uh, yeah, it's worse.
It's worst. It's worst. Okay, so Superman and Lois, the good topic. I'm freaking glad this show got saved, renewed. Season 4 is happening. Amazing. I'm really excited and hyped. So, episode 10. What would be your issues? And then you're positive about episode 10.
Oh yeah. For episode 10, I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as the last two episodes, but those were excellent. And this was great as well. But, so yeah, that's not on the same level, but yeah, I thought this was great.
So you don't have much more to say about it?
Oh, sorry, you wanted me to say pauses. So I mean, well, I don't have like anything too much in detail to go again, but yeah, again, as always, I really love the performances and characters. I always think it's the best part of this show is just the performances and characters in this. Really, like, I had some issues with the cinematography the last decent while. Like, I thought it could have been done better. In this episode, I thought it was done nice. Lighting, of course, good. Sound design, good. Music, I really enjoy. Editing, no issue there. Filmmaking, yep, really good. I mean, again, no really issues there at all. I really enjoyed the storyline of this episode with each character. Not as much as like the last like four episodes, I would say, but still on that level though, right behind it. Yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Okay. Um. Okay. So episode 10 for me had only one big issue. I rolling talk between Sarah and Jordan about I regret loving you. It's like, bruh, I hate this shit. You know me. I hate relationship stuff. Sometimes it does work, and here in this show, it feels so forced and always there to like pretend they give something to the kids, but in fact, they don't really give them any meat. They are starving. It went dark. Uh, this bothered me a lot. Um, so that was my only issue with episode 10. Um, I like the opening scene, Lois beating cancer. Um, Chrissy come full circle since season 1 or 2. She lashed out on Lois covering things up, and how she's covering things up to protect Clark's family secret. Uh, I can't remember in which season we had that. I think that was one. But Chrissy was pissed because she knew Lois knew more, but Lois didn't want to share. But here it comes full circle, and I know it's in purpose because now Chrissy's doing the same thing. She tried to cover up stuff from Cal, and I think it's just well written. Like it shows her growth. Like if that was like Tracy season 1, she would probably like tell everything to Cal, But she got growth. Am I crazy or am I right on that?
No, you're right.
And Tracy is really like a supporting character, which is very interesting. Um, Now, remind me once we are done covering episode 10 and 11, we have a few detail I'd like to share about season 4. So remind me of that uh, once we are done covering episode 10 and episode 11. Um, Matteo talking to his father was cool. Clark wanting to spend time with his kids. It felt like a true father that wants to be a good father. Funny Clark reaction after getting rejected by his son. It's like, bruh, you're meant to feel so bad for him, and it's just like kids doing kid stuff. I just liked it a lot. He's trying his best. um. So next up, Jordan joining Sarah talk awkwardly. This showcase like Jordan was always awkward in past season. Even if I didn't like her talk with Sarah, um, it still showcased that Jordan is not a perfect character. He has his flaws, and I think flaws is not wrong. It's good. It's what makes her character relatable. Sam Lane talking about Clark being a boring dad was hilarious. um, Sarah covering up for Jordan. Funny Clark and Lois talk about teenagers wanting to spend more times with friends than with their parents. This is very accurate. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, it's accurate, 100%. I mean, I can especially say that since I never cared about my parents growing up, but for obvious reasons. But hey,
Yeah, Lois talking about setting an example for Matteo. I can't remember what I refer to. I've seen that episode like 2 weeks ago because I was really hyped, and you know me, I like the show. Um, Carl realizing is being lied to. This is amazing because this showcase that he's smart, and the writing is smart because people obviously lie to you like all day, and bad writing would make you like disregard it or not realizing it, except if it's part of your character flaw that you're stupid. But Cal is never depicted as stupid, so it makes sense for him to kind of know there's something wrong there. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry if
Next,
I don't if I seem a little out of it again. A little tired right now.
yeah. Next up, Matthew helping out his mother. Felt like a true son and mother scene. Carl learning about Clark's secrets and the entire fight was cool. Well, there was not really a fight, but almost a fight. Um, so for me, I guess we can go on closing thoughts, except if you'd like to add something more to episode 10.
No, that's about it. But again, sorry that I'm out of it.
That's fine, man. What would be your grade out of 10?
Like a 7.
For me, that's a 9.7 out of 10. And fun fact, this is actually an average episode for me for this season because most episodes this season were 9.7 out of 10. I think the worst episode so far was 4, and for me, that was like a 9.5, but the rest is like 9.7 and 10, which is telling a
Hmm.
lot about how good I think this season is.
Yeah,
Um,
episode 11, I guess.
yeah,
Well, damn. Well, we this I forgot that there were kind of deaths in this show. So when they did that, but hey, I mean, it was about time, honestly. I would say for that character. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and it was a good scene. So yeah, and yeah, very good episode. I liked it more than the last episode. Yeah, that scene was obviously great. Again, characters really good. No issues technically, filmmaking wise. I didn't like the music as much. I feel like it was a bit cheesy in points. At points, I that's just me though. Uh, the music is about one of the only issues I have with it though. That and there were some character conversations I thought was a little bit a little kind of I don't know how to explain like the Flash feeling that it took me a bit out of it. But besides that, no, it was really good. Yeah, I can't tell if I think this is better or worse or the same as the last episode. I'd say it's about the same. Like it has more weaknesses for me, but it has more strengths as well. Definitely better strengths in the areas it did right. So yeah, what did you think?
Then, side note, probably my second or third favorite episode this season. I will add more to this. At first, I remember noting down an issue I had, but I erased it because the episode fixed it by itself later on. And here was my issue. Cal reacting to Chrissy lying to him and being like, "Oh, but you lied to me, and this is shit." And just like what you said, it felt like the Flash. Now, what fixed it for me and erased that issue was Cal saying he is sorry about overreacting. And this is the big difference for me between uh poorly handled lie story and well handled one. Because Cal is aware how wrong it is to overreact to that. And this is why I decided to erase that issue because in the end, it's more like of a character flaw to Cal, and it's also at some extent to pretend to give him somewhat of a storyline, and and it didn't bother me that much. So, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I again with that stuff, I don't really like have as much of an issue. I never had as much of an issue with it, but like with how they like executed it. It's just an annoying trope, though. I'm not really a fan of yeah, and I've seen it in a lot of mainly animated films, and it's also annoying. It's such a shitty trope done, even when it's annoying even if it's done right. There's few examples where it's really good, but the way they made up for it though, and then like delve deep into it, yeah, I agree. It's I no longer really haven't. Really like annoyed by it. That trope.
Yeah, they kind of subvert some kind of expectation from that trope. Like, oh, they will break up. But no, Cal is actually self-aware and smart about it.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah, I mean that was obviously never going to happen, but
yeah. So I had a lot of things I liked. The opening scene, John Henry Aaron and Natalie talking about being stuck in the past. This is, I feel like, that moment where they kind of know John Henry Aaron maybe won't appear in season 4, and this is very, very sad. I think this is their way of saying we don't have much more to say about them. So this will circle back to our talk about season 4 and stuff. Um, I like the talk they had, and them acknowledging it was good. I like that. Jordan having a panic attack was well shown in visual and stuff. I like that. It's a lot of show don't tell. I like it. Jonathan reaction to Jordan getting his X-ray vision felt amazing. The power outage was like very convenient, but it wasn't an issue because things like that do happen in real life sometimes, and it didn't really complicated the plot. It was just part of the surrounding. Um, the brother having a talk. I can't remember that. Pia admitting she can't be saved, made me feel something, and I wasn't necessarily sad because I knew she was a villain, but I felt something, man. Did you feel anything when she realized she could not be saved? Did you
yeah,
feel anything?
I did feel something, yeah, because it's been a while with that character, so yeah, and then trying to be safe, but I can't. It's like yeah, obviously feel something, you know.
Yeah. Uh, Cal talking about his past felt real because we know his history in the show. John Henry Aaron arrival was amazing. That was in the office, I think, when Natalie was talking to Matteo, probably, I think. Bruno reaction to Pia going crazy. Emotional talk, Superman to Pia. Pia death make me tear up. Cal saying he is sorry about overreacting about Tracy keeping secrets was great, as I mentioned earlier. Bruno, man, I'm having a deal in exchange of his freedom in the cliffhanger with Bizarro being Bizarro. And I think this is why this episode have like 13 episodes because this season has 13 episodes because now we feel like we will get some kind of closure to what's going on, and the final threat will probably be Bizarro or something. So, do you have any closing thoughts on this episode before we move on to the score in our discussion about the
That's
future of the
about it.
show?
But for my rating, it would be a 7 again, maybe a 7.5.
For me, that would be a 10 out of 10. I think that's like the fourth one this season. There's no issue for me. That episode was just perfect for me, and I won't say it's one of the best in the entire show, but in this season, it's one of the strongest. I'd say episode 9 or 8. I can't remember which one of the two. The one where John Henry Aaron kills someone. That's still my favorite episode this season. But episode 11 is a close second or third.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else to add before we move to season 4 talk?
No, that's about it. But yeah.
So, probably, I say probably because it's not official yet. Um, season 4 will probably be the last one of the show.
Huh.
It's not official, as I said, but I suspect it's probably the last one. Or if there's another one, it will be fifth and final. But right now, the talks are season 4 will be a more limited run of 10 episodes. This is why I suspect it's the final one. Um, I don't know if it's official or anything. They didn't say it's the final one, but a lot of things leads to that. Um, the talk right now are during season 3 we had 12 series regular cast member. So these are characters that appear in like I believe it's like 85 or 90% of the episode. So it's like right now like the regular we got is Bruno Mannheim, obviously the Kents, so that makes 5. Natalie 6, Sam Lane 7, John Henry 8, The Cushing, Chrissy, and Matteo, or Pia, but Pia actually died. But these are like roughly the 12 regulars we got right now. And the talks are next season with season 4, they will reduce the number of regulars. So, I suspect we will go from 12 regulars to probably 6 regulars. And maybe we will have like one or two slots for like recurring guests. So, what a recurring guest is like Oliver Queen, for example, in the Flash Night season, he only appeared in one episode, or Wally West in the ninth season, he only appeared one. So, I suspect we will have maybe 6 regulars next season. I'm pretty sure that's actually what we will get. It's not official, but I suspect we will get roughly 6. The Kents, probably the villain, which is Lex next season. It's been told around it will be Lex Luthor. And the last regular I suspect they will have is Sam Lane, because the army and the DOD, because I still think the DOD will be part of what's going on. What I suspect will happen is John Henry Aaron will probably be a recurring guest. So I I think they will give him like one or two episodes where he will have a big fight or something, or because the people know he is a fan favorite, but they just cannot afford having that many regulars anymore. Uh, about the character, I know they will cut. Lana won't be around. Cal won't be around. Sarah, like the Cushing, basically, they won't be around. So, what do you think of that? Having less regulars and only
I
10
mean,
episodes.
I'm not surprised. In order to get the money to make the season, I guess it sucks though because they're gonna take away, my favorite character probably. Yeah, whatever. What I will say though is, hopefully maybe they have like enough time to, yeah, give them a nice, finale. I guess if they can do that, then sure. But yeah, it's gonna be a little weird to not have a season with him. I'll say that.
With John Henry Aaron.
Yeah, it's gonna feel really weird to just like again go back to the Clarks.
Yeah, it will feel weird, I admit it. Now, I will say this, it will give them a chance to heavily focus on like the main cast, and
I think that's good to an extent because there is still like a lot they could, tell with just the main cast.
Yeah, and you know, I won't say that's an issue for me, but that's clearly a weaker point that I'm less excited about is all the teenager drama with Sarah and the teenager. That's for me the weakest link of the show. I won't say it's bad because I've seen bad and it's not. It's just the weakest link. And I feel like with this limited run of 10 episodes, they won't spend that much time on that, and we won't have that much of that. I really feel like the focus will be at the right place with 10 episodes. Now, yes, I wished we had like 13 or 15, but they need to save some money, and I I see the use of it. If you save some money, you don't lose quality. You lose quantity, but I'd rather take quality over quantity, to be honest. And I think that's the thing most people would agree on. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I would take that definitely.
So I'm very excited to see what they will do with season 4. I really hope John Henry, Aaron, and Natalie will remain as like recurring guests. And if we are lucky, they will remain as regulars. If maybe we will be lucky and like the roster will be like John Henry, Natalie, and the Kents, and like Sam Lane, maybe Sam Lane will be a recurring guest. Or if we are lucky, we get everyone except for the Cushing, and I don't care about them, to be honest. Chrissy and the Cushing, like if they are rid enough of the show, I'm fine with it. And I have also heard they would move to Metropolis for season 4. So I guess like episode 13 will wrap the Smallville stuff and they will move. I'm really hyped. I'm also very excited about Lex Luthor. Uh, what do you think about Lex Luthor being the big bad for maybe the last season of the show?
Uh, I mean, I wasn't like the biggest fan of Lex Luthor in the show. I'll be honest. So I mean that they're like they've done a lot with him, but I will. It will be
Lex
weird.
Luthor wasn't around, man.
Oh, sorry. I meant another fucking. My bad. Fuck. My memory is just fucked up right now.
This season we got Bruno Mannheim.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. It was yes. Right. Fuck. Why is my brain off right now?
Maybe you got it mixed up with Titan. Titan had Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of the fucking guy with the bald cap in one of these shows. Oh no, this is what I fucking watched the Flash clip again with Lex Luthor. Uh
Oh yeah,
oh
that
fucking I
Lex
had that in my
Luthor.
mind.
That Lex Luthor was actually good in Supergirl fourth season. In season 5, he kind of turned shit, and season 6 it was awful. But that Lex Luthor was decent.
Yeah, my bad, but
It will be new casting. It's not the same person.
right, yeah. What I'm saying is, so who do you think will be the last villain in season 4, though?
I'm sure it's Lex.
I mean, do
Uh,
you do you think it's? Well, I'm sure Lex will be in there because he has to be for the last season. But say, do you not think like any other side villains will be like with him as like a main villain too? And then if so, then who?
it's a 10 episode run, and I suspect they want to make sure to make it well developed, and they won't miss the money on that. So I don't think we will have like other big villains. Maybe we'll have like smaller supporting villains like week freak of the week, but I don't think we will have any other big villains. I think Lex will really be like the only one.
Hmm.
And I think this is what they should do because with an episode, if you have a very fast pace, maybe you can have like two villain mashed in 5-5, like 5 episode one, 5 episode another, but then it will feel rushed and you won't like really enjoy at the fullest, like one of the two, you will have like two different ones, and we already said it, or I should say, I already said it. I'd rather have quality over quantity, so I'm fine if it's just legs. But I'm also fine if they add more, but I just hope they are not throwaway villain. I feel like season two, one of the numerous mistake they did was having so many like anti-heroes slash villains, so many opposing forces that we end up with like Ali that was like a terrible villain, and she was like the emphasis of what was going on. That was kind of shit. I don't want that to happen again. Like, if season four is the last one, I want a rock solid villain. So these are my thoughts. I'm really excited. I'm glad we got a fourth season. Uh, I think that's enough for this topic. Do you want to add anything else?
Oh no, that's about it.
Okay, I will mark down the timestamp. And the first movie we will cover will be Serenity because that's the first movie I've seen this week.
Right.
So I will let you start as I mark down the timestamp.
Yeah, right. So this was basically a sequel to the show that I guess we aren't reviewing yet because you forgot to watch. But yeah, it's a sequel to it. Basically, it's with supposed to because I don't know. The show was apparent. Got like rave reviews. Was in the top 50 of IMDb. Won a lot of awards, but for some reason it got canceled after the 14 episodes when they wanted to do a little bit more. So they made this film instead, basically. And yeah, it was a big success. This was, I believe, Joss Whedon's first film, and he also directed Firefly. And yeah, these two things are basically what got him his fame, and then moved on to other projects. At the time, and yeah, I thought this was really good. I thought all the characters were, for the most part, were really well done and made sense and weren't like super over the top or anything. And I thought I really loved the sci-fi elements. I like the writing in it. I like the visual aspect to it. And yeah, I do think it's a little bit overrated of a film, but I overall enjoyed it. I don't have too many issues with it. Like there are small nitpicks here and there. Like I do think the it was oversaturated at points, maybe with the lighting, and I maybe the music could have been a bit better. But overall, yeah, I pretty much enjoyed it. So yeah, what did you think?
That was a great movie. I liked it a lot. That was my favorite movie this week. And that was my favorite movie in a long time, to be honest. And I will remain consistent. I will also like dive deep into the discussion right now. I just need to clear that out of my way. Okay. Um, I will remain consistent. Let's speak about the fight scene with the 80-pound girl flipping people left and right. Usually, I criticize that a lot, right? It's like, for me, a huge criticism when it's grounded show and stuff. And here, I will admit, I suspended disbelief. And the reason why is it's a sci fi um, TV show, or I should say, it's a sci-fi movie. And I will go further with this. It's sometime in the future, and on top of that, she is basically a meta-human. She's like an empath or something. I don't quite fully understand what she is, but she's not a normal human. And because of all of these factors, it's sci-fi, it's in the future, she is more than just a normal human. I actually closed my eyes with her flipping people left and right. Speak about the bar scene, right? You know which scene I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the bar scene. Yeah, that scene.
So I acknowledge how usually I bash that kind of stuff happening, and here I won't because I said it. Ed Cannon, she is not a normal human. That's why she can flip people around. And maybe I give reason to the writer, or maybe I just see the movie the way it was intended to be. Here I was able to suspend disbelief. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, okay, with that out of the way, I only got two issues with this movie. The first issue, nothing can excuse this shit. Nathan Fillion, I can't remember his name, but I know the actor, shooting in the body armor instead of the head. I'm so pissed when freaking blood do that. Why? You want to shoot someone, shoot in the head. It's simple. There's nothing we can do to defend this shit. I was like, okay, I'm out. I will knock myself out. Uh Next up, the movie had too many characters and most of them are forgettable. I cannot tell a thing about any of the characters. All I know is the main character is very great. That's all I know. And the main villain is actually really cool. I like him. The guy with the sword. He is cool, man. He carried a lot of the movie. So these are my issues. There's a lot of things I actually liked. The intro dialogue was great. The school was looking cool. The technologies shown are kind of cool, and it feels like it's in the future. The guy killing everyone, setting up a great villain with charisma. Um, Maybe I misunderstood the movie, but I'm pretty sure he's like the villain. Even if most of the character are really gray, I really feel like he's more of a villain. The music, I enjoyed it. Nathan Fillion character being merciless, leaving people behind, feels different and refreshing from the trope of we don't let anybody down. Speech about letting people die. I enjoyed that. Fight choreography was good considering it was early 2000s. Usually early 2000 fight choreography is kind of shit, but in this movie it was good.
Yeah. And again, this was Josh Whedon who then did the Avengers and other films.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought a lot of things about this movie were funny. Nathan Fillion character being shown as deeply flawed and emotional. I think that was amazing. I really like when my characters have flaws because this is what we can relate to. We are like, oh, they're not perfect. They have flaws. And this circles back to Kate Kane. She had no flaw, or she had no flaw until like the back half. And that's why Batwoman failed and it wasn't good. Um, the girl's struggle was very relatable. She's scared to die, scared to go to sleep. And here again, I'm a guy. I'm in 2023 and she's like somewhere in the future and that's a woman and I can relate to that shit. Like it's all about writing. The fight scene versus the villain was amazing. The music when the village was found burned down was cool. The big action sequence was cool. I think war was well depicted since lots of wars were created out of misunderstanding of things or out of fear. What do you think of that? Am I crazy to see that as
Yeah,
a
no,
kind of
a lot of
theme?
wars are created out of fear of the other country and what they might have. Like that's history wise, that's the case. Yeah, for it to be like placed here, it makes sense.
So you would agree with me on that? That's one of the themes of this specific
Yeah.
movie. Okay, so I'm glad I understand the movie well then. Um, Next up would be the ending felt perfect. Yeah, I really like this movie. I think that's one of the few movie I will rewatch. I really liked it.
And when we eventually watch the Firefly show, maybe you'll like it more because it is supposed to be like this is supposed to be a sequel to that. So, it's apparently well received, and it's also, and again, top 50 in IMDb, but also it's I believe, yeah, it's like the type of show that I think you might like be into, like a sort of like CW style show. I think.
Yeah, well, CW, I'm very specific. I've I watched their superhero stuff. I like the superhero stuff, but I had never any interest for Riverdale or whatever other show they have. I actually don't know what other show they have. I don't care. Like Vampire Diaries, I don't care. Buffy, I don't care. It's I think it's more like the comic book aspect I enjoyed, like Batwoman, Smallville, Superman and Lois, that kind of stuff. I like that because these are superhero stuff, and they have sometimes very interesting message, and I just like how entertaining these shows can be. So I think it's the right time for a grade out of 10. What would be your grade out of 10?
For me, it's like around a 7 to 8.
For me, this is a 9.5 out of 10, with only my two issues dragging down the movie a bit. But I liked it. Among the 9.5 out of 10, I think we had a lot of movies like that. I think this one is somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle for me. So anything else to add to this movie?
No, that's it for me at least. Yeah.
Okay, so next up, a movie I will like to roast the shit out of, and you can already guess that which one.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing. This film, the point of it, again, the real story was that I believe, yeah, a bear like broke into a place, ate like shitloads of cocaine, like fucking 50 pounds of cocaine, and then
And now
died.
we will call that white or coke, okay? Because look, it's not about monetization or anything. It's more
Oh,
about like visibility, and
oh, okay. So yeah,
coke or
yeah,
white.
yeah. It ate the white stuff, which is definitely that could be also inappropriate, in some way. Okay, it ate white. All right. Oh Jesus, this sounds racist. Anyway, listen, it ate the powder, and then it died afterwards. All right.
We are both white, trashing white people.
Yeah, it ate the powder, and then it died afterwards. And then, yeah, studios were like, let's make like a comedy meme film out of it, of a bear like eating it, like the true story. But then it just like it goes crazy and everything, and it's like a comedy and pretty much like a fucking meme film. And that's a really good idea. And they also played with it like online with like the Twitter account and everything. And then at the Oscars with the guy in the fucking bear suit, sort of like what they did with like that Revenant film, with the bear in it, which a film we'll eventually watch one day. Yeah. Now the issue though is it just wasn't executed well. Even like listen, even as like a comedy meme film, it wasn't executed well in any of those areas. It wasn't. I don't think it was a terrible film, but good lord, it was definitely not a good film. First and foremost, the director, Elizabeth Banks, shit director, did that new Charlie's Angels and other stuff. Yeah, she basically like did this, like desperate and to try to like revive her career, I guess, and reputation, which kind of worked basically because now she has like five films that were greenlit or four or something. But yeah, still the film suffered from it because yeah, the directing style was bland and generic as hell. Did not add to it. There were so many creative like filmmaking things they could have done to add to the joke, like Edgar Wright does. And it didn't because the director doesn't know what they're doing, and the pacing was off because of it as well. And
I
yeah,
think you caught
cinematography
up.
is off because of it. Editing a bit was too. Oh, can you hear me still?
Yeah, now I can.
Yeah, editing again also a bit off. But yeah, so that was the first issue. Bad director choice. And then the second issue was that it didn't really embrace itself. Uh, I don't know if they were just like trying to save money on the visual effects or something, but
Probably. I'm telling you
there were
that
barely
when
any.
you're wondering, it's not probably, it's happening.
Yeah, shockingly, though, they spent a lot of money on this film. It's shockingly like
Where
40
did the
mil,
money go? What the
30 to 40 mil or something. But
what?
yeah, again, it's like
Did
seriously,
they
it's like
wipe their ass with it?
I don't know, but it's like there's barely any scenes throughout the entire film where it actually embraces the crazy premise and has fun. There's only like two of those throughout the entire film. The rest of it is characters doing fuck all, and the humor isn't really funny, and it's a lot of lazy jokes. All right, and then also the
So I
fucking
wasn't crazy when I thought it was really bad humor.
no, and also that's another thing. They couldn't. This is a film called Cocaine Bear. This is the premise of it, and they couldn't even accurately depict people on drugs. That is not how people on cocaine act. Can you not do some fucking research? And then yeah, so the filmmaking doesn't have much to offer.
I'm sure
Joke
they think
wise,
that's something we eat, but usually that goes on the nose.
yep,
Usually.
yeah, it's like yeah, so it's like filmmaking, writing, etc., acting, etc. Wise, obviously doesn't have the most to offer, but if it embraced itself and was a funny like meme film, sort of like Willy's Wonderland, and was also like entertaining, then we could forgive that because that was the point of it, and stuff like Willy's Wonderland, for the most part, kind of succeeded at that. This didn't really. It wasn't like fucking garbage or anything, but yeah, it just wasn't good. This was like
No, it
really,
was garbage, be honest.
yeah. For me, I still thought it was like watchable. It had like good aspects to it still. Again, like the Bear visual effects was really good. Some of the writing was good. There were some good scenes that was really entertaining that embraced itself. And there were some actors that did a really good job in it that they hired. Uh, and yet, also the sound design was pretty good. Oh, yeah, I made some attempts, but yeah, overall, it's just yeah, this is between like below average to bad for me. This just wasn't a good film. It's a safe, watchable film, but it's just not good at all. What about you?
So before I go on, I need to go out to the bathroom. So keep people entertained for 2 minutes.
Okay.
I waited until you finished because I wanted to get your full thoughts. But yeah, keep them entertained for 2 minutes. I will be right back. It's been like an hour. I'm keeping like that. I'm like, I need to go now.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Again, it could have been a really good film with that premise and setup and everything, but yeah, it just didn't do anything to actually make it good. It's disappointing. And again, if literally, if they just hired a different director, like that's the entire fucking issue with this film. It's like they had the budget, they hired the cast, they had the premise, all right, and they had producers on this. They had producers who worked on a lot of good stuff, like Chris. What were the names again? Fucking Lord Phil and Christopher Miller, I think, who were did a lot of great films, animated films, making some live action ones right now, and are words producers of like the Spider Verse films and stuff. So they had good producers involved and other people involved. They had a lot of good people on board, and they had all the resources. Is literally just the director who was terrible and then dragged the film down with all those aspects. If they literally just had a good director who did this, then it could have been good. But nope. It's just like that flaming hot fucking Cheetos movie that just came out, which was even worse. So yeah, just that was the biggest thing. Just bad director hire, and it sank the whole fucking film. And her next films are probably going to be fucking mediocre as well at best. It's just whatever. Pretty stupid. I don't know. Oh, anyway, I'm pretty sure multi-topic should be back soon. Yep.
Hey there.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if you heard anything I said, but yeah.
nope. Okay. So after watching this movie, I went back and I took a look to our stream where we talked about Wakanda Forever just to have a clear picture because I always remembered Wakanda Forever as being the worst movie I've ever seen. And I took a look to the grade. It was a 2 out of 10. And I was generous with that one because it went in the minus and I gave back points, you know? So, Polar Bear. Mr. White Powder. Oh my, this movie was awful. It was the second worst movie I've ever seen. At least it didn't go on the minus. I will say this. It didn't go in the minus, so it's nowhere near as bad as Wakanda Forever. Slightly better. Is it good though? No. Let's roast this shit. First issue. Tried to be funny many times. Failed to be funny in most tries. Plot convenience? Question mark. Is a true story uh, that people were just finding coke in the woods. And I think we debunked that it really happened, but maybe not the way the show or the movie depicted that happening. So I will leave it as an issue. Too many characters. Some of the dialogue from kids felt more like stuff adults would say. It's not realistic. Feels like an insert from the writer. And it's funny because at some point I compliment about the kids because there are points where the kids really feel like kids, but there are other points they feel like adults speaking, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? These characters are not consistent at all. Don't make a movie about coke if you don't bother making research on the topic. Uh, Feminist, you know what I mean, right? Dialogue was terrible because at some point there were message about that, about woman strength, you know. Good idea or poorly executed here. Not funny. Plot convenience of the random guy finding the coke in the gazebo. Telling instead of showing how the guy went on top of the gazebo because they wanted to save money. In quote. Nobody's shooting the beer. The trust joke didn't land. The little girl outran a beer. Remember, the little girl running away from the beer.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mm,
I want you to remember this is one of the most popular films of this year so far, which is why we're reviewing it.
are
What
you
do you
kidding me?
yeah, what do you have to say for everybody who paid this to go see this in theaters?
I feel sorry, guys and girls. You wasted your money.
A
But
lot of people actually enjoyed it
why? Ow!
because it doesn't take itself seriously.
It's beyond my understanding. This movie is shit. I'm shocked people actually like this crap. It doesn't take itself seriously, so we must like it. No, it's so manipulative to say that. This movie is awful. Okay,
Sorry, DoorDash was at the door. Sorry.
so side note, I think this movie is the definition of a bad movie.
I mean, objectively, yeah, this is a poor film that does a lot of things wrong. Now, both objectively and subjectively combined, if you enjoy it subjectively, then I can understand giving it not a bad rating. Again, for me, I'm at first I was being when I watched it, I was being generous with it, and because it's a wacky idea. But again, the more I think about it and how even as like a meme film, that for and with like online social media
It's
culture where you
not
don't take
funny.
seriously.
This
Yeah, no,
movie's
even
not
as that
funny.
though, A, it's not funny, but B, it doesn't do anything like that, like creatively or meme worthy. It's just bland. So now it isn't. I don't think it's subjectively. I still don't think it's. I didn't find it to be terrible, but fuck, I'm struggling to find like many good things about it. So like again, at best, like the best I can fucking rate this film is like below average. That's like the best I can give it.
Now, there's still a few things I actually enjoyed, even if that was a very, very, very painful movie to watch. Opening scene, I can't even remember this shit. The cigarette speech in the store was funny. The writing of the kid character made sense. Sometimes I need to specify that. Funny fight choreography in the bathroom was hilarious. Funny dialogue about maybe killing the kids. I can't remember this shit. The music was decent. Funny question about coke made by the kid. It was hilarious. With the mother, and the mother can figure out you took the coke. Uh, the scene where the beer crushes someone under his body weight was actually funny.
Hmm. Do have
Why?
something to say with that one though.
Okay, go ahead.
There was an error with that. I don't know. It's because they made the scene and then wrote it differently, and then realized they fucked up and didn't have the money to change it. But yeah, that line. Do you remember the line he said after he crushed him? After it crushed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He was positioned in the wrong way for the line to make any sense, for the joke to make sense.
Ah.
His head was positioned
Oh
at the
yeah.
yeah
Right.
beside the bear's head.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, so the fucking joke didn't make sense because it's like they messed up with like the how they like made the scene like in fucking production.
Yeah,
Holy
you're
fuck!
right. You're right. You're damn right. White Christmas line was somewhat funny. Um, this movie is terrible. It's worse than Troll. I give this movie 2.5 out of 10. Slightly better than Wakanda Forever. What about you, Cole?
This gets like a 3.5.
Oh my, we are very similar. Very, very similar. Cole. So, next topic. Midsommar.
Mm-hmm. And this was a film I actually quite enjoyed a lot. Now again, same director of Hereditary and Beau's Afraid, which we were going to watch this week, but the fucking
Hereditary was better. That's all I will
yeah.
say.
No, Hereditary is definitely better, but I enjoyed this a lot too personally. I will say the director's cut is a lot better than the original cut, but both are good. But yeah, I really enjoyed all the performances in this film. I thought they were great, especially the lead performance by Florence Pugh. I thought all the horror and gore aspects were really well done. I thought the premise was interesting. This is like this is pretty much like a breakup movie in disguise as like a cult movie, kind of horror movie, basically. And
Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of like metaphoric meanings and like the art around the whole place, and then like what happens in the film, which I really love. And when you like
especially the
notice
bar
stuff like
scene.
that, yeah. And yeah, just a lot of like creepy, weird, disturbing scenes that I think were super well done in a good way. A lot of good gore in this. Filmmaking was excellent. The production design, costume design, cinematography was all beautiful. That was all fantastic, and the lighting and visuals. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Yeah, it was really effective, and there's some really horrifying scenes. Like, yeah, I think like the whole fucking opening was fantastic. Yeah. What did? No, I'm sure the pacing though. You were. Yeah, I'm sure you weren't a fan of the pacing, but I didn't have an issue with it. But I'm sure you did. Either
I
way,
did.
yeah. What was your thoughts on this film?
That was a really, really rough movie. At first glances, I thought that was average, but the more I thought about the movie, the less I liked it. Um, so I had a lot of issues. Well, a lot. I didn't add a lot per se, but they do weight a lot my enjoyment. This movie was way too long for its own good. Like, the more I think about it, the worse the movie becomes on that aspect. Um, so that starts really rough with someone singing. I was like, really, bruh, really. Pacing. They spend 5 minutes on what I believe could last 2 minutes. This is like in the early stage of the movie, but pacing doesn't get any better because I feel like they could have cut so much. They just didn't. It feels like a director cut to something that could have been a
Oh,
theatrical
there is a
release.
director's cut of this, and it's a lot better. But I still think this is really good. But I mean,
How long was that?
um, well, I think the director's cut made it go from like a very good to great film to an amazing film for me
But
personally.
how long was the director cut? Because I think
It's
I've seen
about
the
the
director cut.
same length, maybe like 20 minutes more or something. But
I What I've seen lasted 2 hour and 50 minutes.
yeah, I think it was longer. But
Oh my, there was a
yeah,
longer cut of this shit.
but what I yeah, I added more scenes and stuff though.
Wow.
But again, now you might not have been like a fan of the pacing, but did you have an issue with like any of the performances, characters, music, visuals in it?
The writing. We'll go over that soon. The boyfriend feels so stupid to not listen to the girlfriend when she's like, "There's something off about this place. It's kind of wrong. People
Well,
just kill themselves." You know.
I think the point of what the film was doing, again, the point of what they were doing, basically, with his character and both characters was it was both it that part was like a kind of a satire of like dumb characters in horror movies like not listening to danger, and also like it also like shows them like disrespecting cultures, and then like shows like the cult as the people that you kind of feel sympathy for with the dumb shit they're doing to them and the horrible shit and being disrespectful. But also with him, yeah, because it showed that he doesn't really like, since the beginning of the film, he doesn't really like truly care that much about her, and was thinking about just breaking up with her, but then that tragedy happened, so he stayed with her for a little longer. And so he also just doesn't really listen to her, and all this stuff throughout the film. And it also shows, and then throughout the film, it shows like it's kind of like a breakup movie. It shows like the cult
Yeah.
is more of like her family, and then by the end, does that. So that's like what the film was like going for with that, and I really enjoyed it and I thought it worked. But I mean, if you like didn't understand that, or you didn't like it, or like enjoy how it was how they executed that, then I understand it.
There's another thing. At first, when the movie first started, I thought we would have a lot of psychological stuff happening, and I was kind of hyped for it because I
Well,
was like,
there was
"Oh,
some stuff like that, but
like they didn't fully embrace it. They really wanted like you see you get what you see, you know, like
I mean, I
they
thought there
they
was
they
quite a handful of scenes with it, though. There were a lot
they
of flashback scenes in her having PTSD and seeing things.
yeah, that these parts of the movie were really good, but I feel like instead of having the focus on that, the focus was just like what you said, the relationship breaking up and
Yeah,
like the cult and all.
yeah.
Some
And I
people are
mean, I
just
enjoyed it,
nuts.
but if you didn't enjoy that storyline, I understand. But that's the reason why. Then,
Yeah,
like later in the film, there weren't like PTSD scenes because the cult was like supporting her, so she wasn't like like during that meltdown and shit. Like
I think having a PTSD like movie would have been much better than what we got, but
I
that's
mean, there's a
just me.
lot of PTSD like movies out there.
Yeah, that's. I think that would have been better. They didn't embrace what I kind of enjoyed
Yeah,
in the
you wanted
start.
it to be more of that instead of what it
Yeah,
went for. Okay, I mean that's understandable, completely understandable, and that's like definitely just like I can't like criticize it. It's just your view, So
yeah.
you know,
So another
yeah.
another another thing, despite the warning, the boyfriend still drank the liquid. I was rolling my eyes. I was like, first of all, they stood there even if she wanted to leave. Now he's drinking this, even if the girl is like, "Oh yeah, that will make you like basically useless." It's like, bruh, it's something will happen. You will freaking die, man. The trope of the last meal was predictable. The pacing, again, it's a movie that could have lasted an hour and a half, but because they pretend to be bigger, they took forever to end it.
I mean, I'd like to pace it personally. I mean, the thing with the drink again, because it's this show just like how arrogant, like not listening, disrespectful they are. They just like won't listen. They'll just do whatever, and then it bites them. You know, I think that's what Light shows, and how it like also like kind of parodies like a lot of other like dumb people like this in movies who disrespect cults in horror films.
Yeah, and you see, this bothers me when this happens because it's like they make characters stupid on purpose only for the plot to happen, and it just doesn't work for me. I will never give a pass for that because it feels like lazy writing for me. It's like, oh yeah, I don't want to give good reason why someone would do it. I will just say, oh yeah, we are self-aware that people are stupid enough to do that. Man, it's a trope I just don't like. It never sits well with me. There's still stuff I liked. Show don't tell with the medication. They really show you what kind of medication she's using, and that's cool. The bar scene, as I said, I liked it. You're like, okay, like it's a breakout movie. At that point, you kind of know it. The music on the death scene, even if you barely know like the person that died, it makes you feel something, and that was good.
Yeah,
Uh, the performance are good. The
yeah,
main
I think
character,
Florence Pugh was amazing. She should have been like nominated for an Oscar, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree with you. The main character losing your mind was cool. That was one of my favorite part about that
Yeah.
movie.
Also, I will say she was nominated in this year for an Oscar, but for a different film and for supporting actress. It was for this. It was for a remake of Little Women, and by this one director. And eventually we'll get to her films, but when we do, maybe you can ask me which one you like more.
Yeah, the music, the lore of the country, and the party, I kind of liked it. The creepy dinner was cool. The fact the friend wanted to wait later to explain brought mystery, and I'm like, there's something sketchy about it. But at that point, I'm like, okay, that's so very enjoyable, and it's understandable that someone would wait for later to explain something. Um, Predictable fall of the woman was shocking the way it was intended. Um, that movie is proof that cults are crazy. The main character being broken by what she had seen. The people doing the festivity are crazy. The main character knowing something's wrong. The main character having a nightmare. The lore is interesting. The main character reaction. Yeah, like reaction to what's going on, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about this movie. You kind of get the vibe I didn't like, and I didn't like the movie. I still think it's a well-made movie, but like,
I
I
mean, yeah, it depends if you're into it or not, really.
yeah, I wasn't into it.
Fair enough. I will say though, it does kind of show though, like again, it shows the cult as more of like the people kind of sympathize. I can't speak right now. You know what I mean for
Yeah,
to an extent because like yeah, it's like all that stuff is really weird to them and disturbing, but I mean it's just their like tradition, and it wasn't like they were like murdering anybody. It was all like consensual. It was just like their traditional. Well, tradition, while all the fucking tourists there were being so disrespectful. The guy fucking pissing on the tree, all the others flipping out. The one guy
Yeah.
like sneaking in to like take photos of that one like traditional fucking book, or whatever. It's like they were and of course the main guy in the film. It's like they were all disrespectful throughout the whole fucking film and to their shit, with their culture. So it's like to an extent, this is one of those films where it's like you kind of sympathize. I can't speak. Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? A bit
Yeah.
more with the cult instead of honestly the characters here, and it kind of like parodies that like in other films, where this is kind of the case with them acting stupid and just like disrespectful and talking during things. So this was like what the film was kind of going for in another area. Goes for many things, and yeah, I think it did a good job with that.
What would be your grade out of 10?
Give it like an 8.5.
For me, that would be a 6.5 out of 10. So I can see the value in it. I didn't really connect with it. So, any closing thoughts before we move on to the final topic being PI?
Nope. So yeah, PI. We did Darren Aronofsky's films before. We didn't do all of them, but I knew some of them like this and Mother and such would are A, not really like his most popular ones, but B, would probably not be ones that you would be into knowing your taste. And also they aren't really like similar to like films like Black Swan, The Wrestler, and such, which we were watching leading up to The Whale, which are kind of similar films to each other. So we didn't watch them, but just like other directors and other films, that like many who has the odd films we didn't watch yet. I'm like, I'll put it on like a notepad, all the films we didn't watch of each of them, and if we ever get a chance to, or it's like we have some free time, then I'll add them all on there for like a week. This was one of those times with one of his films, Pi. Now there's others we haven't watched yet, like Mother, but yeah, this is one of them. I think after this, there's like 2 or 3 more left we didn't watch. So yeah, we'll see if we ever get to those. But yeah, it was like at least like the Fountain and Mother. We didn't. Any others I don't quite remember he did or not. But anyhow, yeah, this was his debut film before 2 years before Requiem of a Dream. So it's a low budget, not really like actors and like known actors too much and stuff like that. And you can tell in like the production and such, kind of like amateur to an extent. But it also has some of that charm to it though because of it and like what it was going for of its premise in the film. And overall, I did enjoy it. It's definitely not one of his strongest ones, so I wouldn't consider it a great film, but I would consider it like a good film in my opinion. Yeah, there are definitely issues here and there though. So I know there are, he was like intentionally going for this thing with like some like actors and such, like some of the supporting actors randomly in the film, but who like interact with the main character. It's like some of the dialogue being weird, and also their performances being like bad, kind of like that was intentional to add to like the trippiness of the film, like he does with all of his films in different aspects. This is what that was one aspect he tried doing with this, since it's lower budget, so he couldn't do like other things. I get that. I just don't think it was like executed well, in the final product. But yeah, I mean, visually it was pretty nice for a low budget black and white film. Yeah, the main character performance was really good. The premise was interesting. I mean, the writing, not really too many issues with it outside of some side character stuff. Uh, Directing could have been maybe a bit better, but again, this was his first film. He then kind of mastered it with Requiem of a Dream, kind of like fixed all the issues with it, I would say. But yeah, overall, though, I'd say pretty good film. Yeah, definitely not, definitely has some issues, though, and, it was definitely, you can tell it was like a debut film for him. and not the highest budget. But yeah, what did you think?
That was really rough.
Yeah, I figured. Here's the thing, though. At least it was only an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. Um, there are two side notes. One is I don't know why, but the website uh, kept crashing, so I
Yeah.
kept
Oh my god.
refreshing.
Yeah. That's one thing I was gonna say. For
It
me,
took
it did too, and I was gonna mention that if that happens, and just try watching Possessor instead, but I forgot to.
I it took me 2 hours to watch this 1 hour and a half movie because I kept refreshing the fuck out of it. Um, and that's not my internet because my internet is really good usually.
By the way,
Um,
what site do you use
the
again?
one you linked me.
Oh, is that just the site you use, or do you not use another?
Usually I use another one, Vumoto, and usually I
Yeah,
don't have
DM
any
me
issue.
it in Discord real quick.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm saying that you can like DM me it real quick.
Yeah. One
Yeah,
sec.
because I've been having some issues with that with films on the site. So yeah, but it has the widest variety of like free films, so that's why I use it. But
I
I've been
think
having some issues with that.
I think that's the name of the site. It's on my favorites, so yeah,
Okay.
that's it. So sometimes this website crashes, but it's rare, and even if it does, when you refresh, it's normal and you're good to go. There are a few cases among the thousand and thousand. I'm not joking. I've been using this website for like maybe three
Trust me,
years.
I know this was a rare occasion. Like I refresh and it restarts the whole film, and it wouldn't fix itself.
Yeah. So the website I'm using, it happened maybe 10-ish times where it's probably the link they were using over there that just wasn't working, but it's 5 times, maybe 10 times. It's between 5 and 10, but throughout like 3-4 years. So it's not a lot, it crashes on me maybe once or
Yeah.
twice a year, and it's a good way, and anyway, um so that's the first one. The second side note is I didn't connect with the movie. Even if my score will be high, it's only because it's a well done movie, despite my enjoyment. My enjoyment took over. If no, if my enjoyment took over the movie, it would be much lower. So if it was only subjective, it would be much lower. I'm saying that I gave space to this movie to mess up, and to not really connect with me. I gave this movie more than enough space. Um, so yeah, so I only had a few issues. The train scene where the guy starts singing was bad. I truly hated that scene. I was like, what am I watching? Next up, pacing the movie, pretending things are happening, but not that much is happening. The pacing is like, it feels like this movie could have been a short movie of like half an hour, but it was an hour and a half. Lasted like an hour too long. um, maybe I'm too harsh. Maybe like 45 ish to 60 minutes, and the same could have happened. You could easily trim down lots of things. Um, so yeah, I don't have much likes either. The intro was somewhat creative. The music, I liked it. The atmosphere was decent for a black and white movie. The main character getting crazy about numbers. The main character is likable. The music, the chase scene in the metro after the guy shaved his head, I can enjoy it. So yeah, as I said earlier, I recognize this movie value, but it just didn't work for me. I don't have much more to say. Except if you have anything else to add, I think we can already move on to like the grade out of 10.
No, not really. I figured this would not be a film you'd really be into. So yeah, that's why we didn't watch it when we went through Darren Aronofsky's filmography. But we were like, you know, but maybe we'll like complete it 100%. Whenever there's like room, and there's room here. Yeah, we picked this one. I will say though, the other two, whether you're into them or not, or like them or not, it'll at least will have like more things going on that you'll be like intrigued to either enjoy or roast. That's what I'll say.
I cannot wait. I'm excited about it. I
Yeah,
like to
it
roast
won't be
shit.
until like the future, but whatever. Whenever we ever have time to get to those outside of our projects, but anyway, yeah, for me this is like a 6 out of 10. It was
Oh,
good.
very, very interesting. So, if I was completely subjective and only my opinion, this is a 5. But I cannot recognize the value of this movie, and I give it a 8.5 out of 10. But my enjoyment was a 5.
Yeah. By the way, Dan, do you know how to like on this site you sent me? Do you know how to like search in films? Because I'm trying to use like the bar and it doesn't work.
Well, you type the movie, for example, I don't know, Midsommar. Then they give you a result, and you click Midsommar.
That's the thing. It's not giving me like a result. I click enter and it's not giving me anything, and I just leave the text in the thing and it's not showing anything.
Yeah, you need to click a result. If the website doesn't give you a result, that means the website doesn't have the movie. That's
Oh,
why I ask
I
you a
see.
link. That's why I
I
ask
see.
you a link.
That's actually an efficient tool. Okay.
So yeah, you need like a full movie. Like I don't know. That beer movie. Like we got a lot of Coke things. Coke Godmother, Coke Cowboy, Coke beer.
Yeah.
So it's how it works. This is why I asked you a link because my website didn't add.
Well, the good news is the last 3 to 4 films from that director are all on the site, and when you search up his the director's name into the bar, all four of them show up first. So that's good.
That's
Yep,
interesting.
it's below Mother, Noah, and the Fountain, and then also there's a fifth one which is Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, which is literally considered like the worst film of all time. Why is that showing up?
Okay,
Oh,
so
anyhow. Oh, yeah, right, because it's a religious film. And Aronofsky does religious messages in his films, too. I see. Yeah, good job, Vumo, whatever.
and
Anyway, so that's it, I guess, for the film talk.
yeah, I had a blast this week again. It's a bit
Yeah,
sad that DC didn't have time, but I keep reminding him he is
yeah.
more than welcome. Like,
And I'm sorry I
no
didn't have, like,
pressure.
much time to really dive as much into this stuff, but I do have to, like, head out, sadly. But I will say, though, next stream, again, should be the next 2 streams and so on should be the opposite, hopefully. And then, yeah, on June 27th, again, get ready because we will be doing like the 4 to 5 CW shows and the Ash versus Evil Dead season 1 and then
Yeah,
Firefly, and then along with the films. So there's
yeah.
going to be shitloads of stuff, which is fine though because all the CW seasons you already seen, so you don't need to rewatch. So you don't have, and then the episodes are just one episode, so it
Fun
shouldn't be like
fact. Fun
yes,
fact. I actually rewatched some. Black Lightning. I've seen
uh,
the season 1 and 2 back in I believe February because I planned on covering it instead of DC, but I was like, it's actually better. So we will suffer through DC's Legends before. So this is what happened. Like we cannot change plans, but Black Lightning first 2 seasons
see.
I had seen them like back in February, but season 3 I will need to rewatch, and season 4 as well because last time I've seen both was more than a year ago
I
actually.
see. Well, again,
And
I will just say though, like, yeah, I mean, if you needed to like save some time on some stuff, then just also I'll have to like edit to schedule up and change it around so it's not completed yet. So
yeah,
besides the films, you can start on the films if you want. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But for the 27th though, if the schedule is pretty packed and you need to try to save time, then just remember you have at least seen the CW shows on like the other topics, so you could like save those for last maybe. But yeah,
yeah,
we'll see. Um, yeah, I have a lot of stuff, I guess, but I will say for the movies next week. Again, it will be two Water to the Universe. The next 2 weeks will be the last films and the Firefly TV show
yeah,
will be the last stuff in that whole Predator, Alien, Blade Runner type universe. And
yeah,
but anyway, with the 20th though next week, it will have two of those films in it. But then it will have the other three films of the guy who did that Babylon film, so we can finish his filmography. And even though you didn't like Babylon, I think two of these you will enjoy: First Man and Whiplash. Mainly Whiplash. I honestly, I love Whiplash. I consider it a masterpiece, and I think it will be a film that you'll love.
that's good. I
Like
cannot
Serenity,
wait.
yeah, possibly even like Arrival and stuff. Maybe I don't want to overhype
Oh,
it. I don't want to overhype it. We'll see.
you
There are like,
overhype it a lot.
well, I would say
Arrival is
it is.
amazing.
There are like musical parts because it's about a drummer, but it's not really like. But the musical stuff, like it's not like just regular musical scenes at all. It's like it's about like you'll see. It isn't like really about like music. It isn't like a musical or anything really. So yeah, but now us and then First Man is like more of like a biopic, but it doesn't really treat itself as a biopic, and you also I'm sure you don't really know the story, so you might enjoy it. I don't think you'll really enjoy it too much, but I think enough. Maybe consider it like a 7 out of 10. I will say the third film though, out of those three films by him, yeah, I think you'll hate because it's a musical
Oh my!
and it's a
Oh
film I
my!
consider to be great, but a lot of people, it's a film that's divided to an extent. It's highly rated overall and won a bunch of awards, and I consider it to be great, and a lot of people do consider it to be like amazing and stuff. But a lot of other people consider it to be kind of pretentious and stuff. So, and then it's a musical, so yeah, I have a feeling you're gonna hate that one. But hey, we
You
gotta
know
get
me.
through this, I guess.
You know me, man. Anyway, as usual, I'd like to thank you a lot. I'm having a blast with you, and the podcast is almost a year old soon. I think like next week or
Yeah.
so, it will be a year. Maybe 2 weeks from now. Like I know by the end of June, it will be 1 years old. But man, I like your dedication. I like the fact that I I can count on you, man. That's just amazing. Like a year ago, that was more like you're a guest here and there, but now you're like co-hosting this, man. That's very appreciated, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. I guess. Yeah, I remember the first episode was literally just us going, like
Yeah.
having no topics, just going. So I mean, what shows do you like? Do you like Superman and Lois? I don't know. Hmm. For basically like an hour.
Yeah.
That was the first episode.
And now we almost always hit like 2 hour and a half and more,
Mhm.
and
Oh
I
yeah, like
think it's
4 hours.
amazing.
We're
Yeah.
only like this is just a shorter one because I have to go. But yeah, but yeah. See you next week, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, man, and take care. We talk later.
Yep. You too.
And viewer, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day and take care.